Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Patient Pod, the holistic hub for everything health and wellness. Well, it is February 1st, 2024. We're a month into the year, and as statistics show, a majority of us have lost track of our New Year's resolutions. So this episode is directed towards kind of figuring out, what's causing this and why we can or how we can really stop and avoid things from spiraling, and we can take charge right now, take action, make some changes, and get back on track.
Absolutely. So at this point of the year, there's a lot of people who, just like you said, they had a grand idea right at January and they were going to get it done. But then life got in the way, just like it does every month. And then they didn't get it done. So a lot of people right now are feeling like they're a little bit of failures.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here to tell you that just because it's a New Year's resolution, you can't give up on the rest of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's easy because if we really think about it, especially if you're in your 30s, I mean, we're pre-programmed computers at this point.
Yeah.
So it's going to take, and Tony Robbins, all the mindfulness guys really talk about that transcendental moment, or that moment where you decide no more. I'm no longer, and a lot of the times it's at the doctor's office where they say you have high cholesterol, you're pre-diabetic, you're on your way to have a heart attack. Those are usually the emotional, strings that are pulled that can trigger that transcendental moment. But in reality, we got to just dig deeper in understanding ourselves, and maybe writing down a few things on, some habits or things that are holding you up. For me, it was getting to bed at a decent time. And for me, it is also, and again, I failed at this, and this week I've revisited it. So getting to bed at a decent time and getting my phone out of the room, and also kind of blacking out. It's kind of corny, but I took little pieces of electrical tape, and even like my light switch has a little light on it, just the little lights on my fan. I took out all the light in my room, and man, the last 3 nights, you can even see it on my Fitbit. Like, I never got into the 80s on a regular work week schedule, and I've been consistently in the 80s just by eliminating my phone. I got some nose strips. I got a humidifier. I'm rocking.
That'll make you jacked up, dude. You'll come to work just on fire.
Oh, you can tell a huge difference.
Well, and like you said, like Tony Robbins. So most of us think that, okay, we're going to set a goal, especially, around this time, and we're going to get it done. Well, we feel like that it needs to be this, like in our brains around, December 27th, we're like, yep. We're going to start it right there, January 1st. We got it. And we think that it's going to be this nice little groove up where we're like, yeah, we get better, where you're losing weight, whether you're wanting to sleep better, whatever that is. But it's never that. It's never that straight line. It's going to get squiggly as hell, just like it is. And for me, I wanted to start working out more. And I hadn't even really got started. I've already failed too. But I'm not discouraged or frustrated. I've gotten in the gym at least once a week, and I'm trying to create that habit more. And that's really what you have to do when you're going from something zero to try to be a hero. The biggest part is the brain, on how it will affect you. Your brain's going to give you so much. Like, even yesterday I wanted to go work out, and I was like, well, yeah, I think I'll go work out. But then immediately my brain was like, well, I mean, you don't have to do it today. How about you try it in the morning? But I am the biggest failure of waking up in the morning and doing it. And I know that, but my brain is like, hey, how about you just wake up in the morning? So really, at this point, if you have had trouble with getting the goals done, you're still just fine. You're just like everybody else that's fighting through your brain telling you, nah, we don't have to do this, or your brain just kind of shutting it out, and you're not accomplishing anything.
Yeah, and you made a good point there, and if you really dig into, and being from where we live in St. Louis and run our business here, and just to represent, Andy Frisella, if you really, I did 75 Hard a couple years ago, and his book is fantastic at it. He talks about I'll say the witch with the B voice that you have, that voice that's saying, nah, we can do that later, we can do that tomorrow. And I'll ask you a couple questions, because something that's really helped me with that, because I think we all struggle with that to a minor, to an extent, I should say. But for me, it's procrastination a little bit. I've always tried to stay organized, but I'm telling you, and I'm going to go back to the cold plunges.
The cold
I
plunge.
switched up this week as well as doing it. I'm not giving myself an option going straight to it after I get out of bed. And let me tell everybody that I am not, the cold. It's not like it's so pleasurable that I just can't wait to get into the cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, again, it's just like going back to Tony Robbins talking about how the euphoria and the feeling afterwards versus that, 1 to 3 minutes in the cold is so much better than
Mm-hmm.
the pain. It overrides the pain. So, but it's also telling you something too, is I'm not giving myself the option. It's miserable when you first get in, and it's even nerve wracking your first couple plunges because you're like, I'm gonna do it. Nope, not gonna do it. I'm gonna breathe. I'm gonna go in there. Just go.
Yep.
And then that carries on to other things and aspects in your life as far as working out. It's like, you need to get it done. 45 minutes, go. And
Yep.
and I think that's just along with the taking massive action. But what I ask you is, because you made a good point as far as like zero to hero type stuff. But what is your mindset now moving forward, knowing you got to do it? You've
Mm-hmm.
committed. So what are you going to do moving forward?
Well, it's a lot of what you were just talking about. Just going and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I really get into a point to where I'm not thinking clearly on, especially when things that you don't want to do,
Mm-hmm.
you start to think like your brain gets a little muddied, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're not rationalizing it very well. And you're like, well, and then you start feeling sorry for yourself, and you start doing all those things. But I'm slowly trying to, and this is another Tony Roberts, changing that standard, and that's really that would probably be my best answer on your question. I'm trying to change my standard because for so long my standard has been much more subpar than what it should be.
Mm.
So I'm trying to, and changing your standard is not one of those things where you can beat your head on the wall and you do it. You have to take time to change your standard in your brain. So with work and things, my standard's pretty high. I go after things. We do this podcast. It's awesome. We love to do all this stuff. But for some reason in my fitness life, the bar has gotten so low, and it's hard to get that bar back up. So what
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do this year is really change that standard of who I am and who I want to be, and
Mm-hmm.
not giving myself such a low bar to reach.
Yeah.
Because right now my bar is so low that I don't have to do much, and then I feel pretty satisfied with it.
Yeah.
But deep down, subconsciously, it's nailing me. Telling you, we got to do something.
And that inner voice comes in many forms. It comes to the form of say we can do this later, or this little I don't know, like this inner thing saying we can do better.
Well, you don't want to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You might hurt yourself. You might be embarrassed. You might do that.
Yeah. And that's when you just got to go, okay, this is everybody. If we really knew that a majority of us are only thinking about ourselves and how we appear to the world, then we probably wouldn't worry as much about what they think.
Yeah.
And we only know, we live in our body, our own heads. But I would say that like that voice, like our mind does that subconscious thoughts and those patterns we've formed. And as cheesy as it is, you can talk to it and tell it what to do.
Yep.
It's no longer a time where we're going to just put things off. And every time you do that, and that's why you got to enjoy the love of the process of working out. It's like when you're working out and it's burning a little bit, you're going to tell your body, we're going to go a little further because I'm in control. Mm-hmm. And you use that as a tool, and you're training your mind and your body to when a situation comes up in life that, I got to get this done. I got to, even if it's as simple as loading the dishwasher or unloading it, it takes 5 minutes.
It can be tough though when you don't want to do it.
It's grueling. And you look at, I can do this tomorrow. I got a little time in the morning, make it convenient, just freaking nail that thing. You get little wins like we always talk about. Mm-hmm. That's going to gain confidence. And the number one thing is confidence. The more competent you are with something, the more confident you're going to be. So the more aware you are of where your thoughts are going and controlling those things, and you're going to get, it's a muscle. It'll get better and better and better. And then you look back 6 months previous, you're like, damn, and like we talk about a resolution, quote unquote, like I'm going to start at the beginning there. That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
It's life, man.
Yeah.
And time's
well,
not
and also, and I think this we can wrap it up with this. For all of you who have failed with what's going on, most of you are probably trying to do something to either, and I'm kind of drawing this off of what Dr. Agan was saying. You're probably doing it to try to impress somebody else, or your motivation is coming from something else. do the things for yourself, because you will go further if what your motivation is for yourself and not for someone else. Now, I'm not gonna lie, motivation from either a past relationship or friends or whatever, that stuff works. It does, and you can make it a long ways. But having that inner peace of you're doing something for yourself to make yourself happy will give you a much more longevity with those goals.
Well, and it's, life's a journey. And if you have you're just getting you're getting by, you're getting those little motivations, and motivation is a word that can be used to get you through a little bit of something in life. But if you're driven and you
Yep.
know that like the process is the beauty, and you know what, a good little tool to try is, and that this could be with any questions you have with what you're going to do in life, or motivation to go to the gym. Why are you going to go to the gym? Like, write out questions as if you're talking to your older self. Ask
Ooh.
questions to your 80-year-old self, and what would they say? Because a lot of the times we know what we need to do. We know we need to go to the gym. If a friend was telling us these same problems and issues, we'd say, just go to the gym. You'll figure it out. Well, if we're hearing that from, we're talking to our old self, and you answer those questions as you get a different drive towards that. And then it's
Yep.
kind of, you really can build a relationship with your your 80-year-old self and your 5-year-old self, because you're somewhere in the middle. And most of the time we're gravitating towards that inner child that hasn't been, kicking and screaming in there.
Yep.
But the old wise granddad is going to say, sit down, son.
Ooh, the golden nugget at the end here.
It's time to take it one day at a time and follow your heart.
I like it. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one to end with. I like that.
Right on.
Episode 25.
Number.
I'll take Mark McGuire.
You got, oh.
I know. I was gonna make you think on your.
Man, I'll never forget when he hit 62. Remember, all the news station, everything, all the channels went to that moment.
Yep. It was a good time. It was a good time.
I'll go with Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones for the Atlanta Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
Chipper
good.
and Andrew. Those
are good times in baseball. I think we're going to get back to that. I think we're getting back. Not saying that we need to start up steroids again, but people were.
I mean, let's get real. There's something
going on. Mark McGuire was hitting balls in the Mississippi River,
but he's still tracking down 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, man.
Still doing that. He's
still
gifted. Yep. Absolutely.
Remember how it looked like a toothpick in his hands? The bat.
Yeah. He was massive. Massive. All right, guys. Y'all. Thanks for listening. As always, give us a good review, subscribe to the podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Take care of yourselves.
Peace.